Hi everyone, this is Delia. I am a music teacher and I'm in my classroom and the room next to me is teaching dreidel, 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 so I'm hoping it's not going to be too disruptive to my presentation about my lesson plan. My lesson plan focuses on vocabulary for advanced ELLs, particularly in 6th and 7th grade. And my concept was that this would be an ESL classroom, primarily students who are being pulled out of their class, and they would have an opportunity to use a word bank to write their own verses and lyrics to a song with new vocabulary. I thought about two different kinds of approaches as I was working on this. The first thing that really had spoke to me when we even began the class was the effective humanistic approach, and I've even thought about how I could apply that in my music classroom. But building a classroom where peer input is highly important can be really important to students learning the English, and also communication that is personal and personally meaningful. So in developing my lesson, I thought a lot about how students, especially middle school students, relate to pop music and how that may actually be somewhere that they can personally communicate. They're very dramatic at that age, and it gives them sort of an outlet for that where they could feel really comfortable. As well, I also thought about the conceptual, in our textbook we read about 7 principles of instructed language learning by Robert Ellis, and production was discussed heavily as being really important, and that I wanted to create a lesson where students were outputting their own product, and that their part of their language acquisition is being influenced by the fact that they are creating product and not that they are simply listening or doing some kind of worksheet or work that I have designed for them. So in order for ELL students to have totally successful instruction, it has to require that they're also creating their own output. So here is part of what my lesson would look like. I would have a word bank for students, and I'm sorry I can't model this for you better right now, I don't have a volunteer, but I would have an opportunity to have a word bank up on the wall, which would include 4 words. One would be barricade, one would be compel, one would be blame, and one would be isolate. So I'm going to ask a student to help me write the first lyric. So after we've already reviewed our word bank words, and we've talked about how we pronounce them, we've talked about how we use them in a sentence, and we've talked about what their meaning is, I'm going to ask someone to help me. How would I write this first lyric? Who has an idea? I'm going to use the word barricade first. So what is something I could do? I'm going to call on a student. Oh, that's an excellent idea. So once again, 6th graders are dramatic. So we're going to use number 1. I barricade the door. I think you can see that. I'm going to ask a second student to help me. So thank you for using our second word out of the word bank, compel. What are we going to do there? So that's a great idea. I compel you to open it. And then let's work on this last one. Can I have one more student? Can we use blame? How would we use blame? I blame myself. Very good. So I'm going to put that down. And lastly, I'm looking for the whole class to contribute to this. So let's take 1 minute to turn and talk to our partners and come back, and I'm looking for something that uses the word isolate. So turn and talk, turn and talk. I'm going to walk around, monitor the turn and talk, and see what's going on. So great. So it looks like we have a consensus. People have chosen you, isolate, me. Awesome. So at the end of right now, I'm going to ask you to break up into your regular working groups, and you're going to have 5 to 7 minutes, we'll see how that goes, to create your list of lyrics like I have. They have to be different from mine. And I'm going to ask you to come up as a group and perform them for the class. You can choose to just do this. I barricade the door. I compel you to open it. I blame myself. You isolate me. You can just come up and you can read it to the class, or you can get more creative. You can decide to sing it in the style of one of the musicians that we've heard earlier. So that would be a way that I would utilize the modeling section of my lesson. I use the Madeline Hunter template for lesson planning. I really like it, and I think it works really well for students, and it really helps me to organize my lesson in a way that sort of gets at the most important information the quickest. I also like that she encourages questioning period so that students are really utilizing higher level thinking. I hope that this has made my lesson clearer. I really thought a lot about students of this age group because I find middle school a particularly difficult time to teach, difficult age group, and I think that really peer work is a way to focus them and motivate them and keep them really interested in what you're doing, and also utilizing pop music and something that they like to listen to and something that their friends might think is cool is a great way to sort of get them bought into the lesson, taking in thought sort of about their cultural background as young teens. And I also wanted to create something that would be fun for them and would also reflect back on maybe other work that they're doing in school, writing poetry, and also what they're working on in their enrichment classes, studying songwriting. So hopefully this has been helpful, and I look forward to looking at all of your lessons. Thanks. Bye.